What's good? My name's Jake. This is my YouTube channel where I basically just post videos on anything I think I'm knowledgeable about, anything that I think I can explain to other people, or just if I feel like just making a random video, I don't know. I just felt like making a video on, how to gain muscle no matter what. So let's get right into it. So no matter what, this is a foolproof plan. If you do these things exactly and you actually do them properly, then you will gain muscle. It will happen. It's just a matter of, are you doing it correctly? Now, who am I to say all of this? How knowledgeable am I? Well, if you want to see proof of my progress, then you can follow my Instagram that I put in the link in the description and linked on my channel. So please follow that. I've been going to the gym for about 3 years consistently now, something like that. And I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable on this. Yeah, you judge for yourself. You try it out. You see if it works. These are, scientifically proven. I've done it myself and it works. So, it's nothing happened. Let's get into it. So the very first two things that you want to worry about before you do any sort of exercise, worry about anything, you need to make sure that you have your sleep and diet in place. You need to make sure you got it on lock. Sleep, really simple rule. Aim for 8 hours, minimum 6 hours. If you're getting below 6 hours, just give up. You're not really going to be getting good gains. It's going to be taking quite a long time. You need to be getting 6 plus. It works like this. So the food that you eat is the fuel to grow your muscles, and you can only grow them when you're sleeping. Think of it like that. Now, diet is where it gets a little bit more complicated. There are a few rules, and you do need to keep track of a few things if you want to be doing it accurately. Once you get to a point where you've got yourself in sort of a rhythm and you know what you want to eat, then you can sort of just, drop some of these tools. But, I'm going to tell you, all right, so what are these tools? You need to know your maintenance. What's the maintenance? The maintenance is what you're eating at the moment. What's maintaining your muscles right now, your weight right now. So if you were to stop eating your maintenance and eat less, then you would lose weight, right? That would put you in a calorie deficit. You want to be in a calorie surplus if you're going to bulk. So how do you find your maintenance out? Well, I put a calculator in the description, so you can put your details, like how much you weigh and stuff. You put in the details in there and it will tell you what your maintenance is. Or you could just use a tracking app, which I also put in the description. I use that personally. Calorie is actually really, really good. There is a really, really good app. The premium version is really, really cheap, ultra cheap, but it's really worth it because then it gives you the barcode option and it gives you the option to scan the nutrition label, and then it will put it all in automatically for you, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's just really, really straightforward, really good app. So to bulk, you need to be eating about 300 to 500 calories above your maintenance. So average adult per day is probably eating about 2,000 to 2,500 calories. And you probably want to be eating about 3,000 to 3,500. Depends though. 3,500 is quite high. That's probably quite, when you start to get down the line, or if you already weigh quite a bit. But yeah, you need to be eating about 500. You want to aim for about 500 up. If you start going above 500 though and going a lot higher, then that's where you can start, gaining more fat than you gain muscle. And then it's a bit counterintuitive. But yeah, that's pretty much where you want to be with the maintenance. Then you got to figure out your macronutrients. So your macronutrients are basically, just how much fat and how much protein, those sorts of things. You don't really have to worry about anything apart from protein. You do want to keep the amount of fat low because you don't really want to be getting fat. Just, have a healthy mindset. Just don't eat really fat stuff. But, it's pretty much common sense. But the rule for protein is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. So if I weigh, let's say I weigh 70 kilos, right? Then I'd be about 150 pounds. So I'd need to eat 150 grams of protein every day to be able to get the optimal amount of protein for muscle growth. That's like it's been researched thousands and thousands of times by countless studies, countless scientists. I'd probably cite a few down in the description. But if you eat lower than that, then you're missing out on those potential gains. If you eat more, then you're wasting that protein. So that's pretty much where you want to be. The last aspect of the diet that you want to worry about, the very last thing, is things that you need to avoid. Now, there's only two things that you need to avoid. Technically three if you count. You don't want to have stuff that's really high in fat, but you don't also want to choose low fat. And this is another reason for that. You want to avoid chemicals and added sugar. Chemicals and added sugar is what's really going to get in the way of things. It's what's really going to hurt your gains. How are chemicals going to hurt your gains? Chemicals, what they're going to do is they're going to affect your hormones, and your hormones is where things like testosterone are. And if that's negatively affecting that means your body's preoccupied with dealing with those chemicals and doing other processes and can't put it towards your gains. And it also dysregulates your hormones. They're just not good for you in general. But how is sugar bad? How is sugar bad for you? We all told us sugar's bad for you. This is exactly why sugar's bad for you. So when you're eating high amounts of added sugar, now added sugar is very different to natural sugar. If you're having fructose, that's absorbed by the body in a completely different way to this. But if you're having high amounts of added sugar from, you eating a shit ton of Haribos and all that, like that's really gonna fuck up your blood glucose. And that's because it's gonna cause your blood glucose to raise a lot, because when it breaks down, that's what happens. And so what does your body do to regulate this? So your body's doing homeostasis. It's trying to keep everything the same. It's going to spike your insulin. And your insulin is what, is going to counteract the glucose to try and lower it so that the body can keep itself the same. But if your body keeps doing this because you're having constant sugar spikes, then, your body's going to get sort of desensitized to it. And that's where you can get stuff like diabetes. And it really wears you down and it hurts your gains, and it makes you gain fat too, because when you're getting so much insulin over and over and over, insulin's a storing hormone in the body, so it makes your body want to store and conserve fat, so it makes it impossible to lose fat if you keep doing this. So yeah, definitely avoid sugar. That shit is gonna really ruin you. As well, it's not even like got anything in it. It's like got no macronutrients. It's literally just empty calories. It's like lettuce, so it's pretty much useless. So once you got down these sorts of rules and this framework, you want to figure out the actual things that you want to eat. Obviously, like I can't tell you what you want to eat because it's subjective, but I'll tell you some of the things I eat. So for breakfast, usually you don't want to eat something that's big, because eating breakfast in itself can just cause an insulin spike, because you're eating as soon as you wake up. You're getting glucose very quickly from when the body has not eaten or done anything for 8 or so hours. And so, you're hitting it with all this food. So you kind of want to leave breakfast as late as you can. And you don't really want to eat, some really heavy cooked meal. You want to get quite a few bits of calories in. You want to get quite a lot of protein in, but you want to keep it light. So usually I have this shake, and it comes in about 500 calories, and it's got about 35 grams of protein in it. And I'll put the recipe for this down in the description, but it's got some berries, it's got banana, it's got cinnamon, dark chocolate, oats, milk, and protein powder, whey protein powder. I use my protein whey isolate. It's got 23 grams a scoop. I wouldn't go lower than 20 a scoop. If like your protein powder is lower than 20 a scoop, it's not worth it. It's pretty good price. And then honey, and that makes about a pint's worth of shake. That's like in a NutriBullet. I put it in, and it's about a pint, I'd say, just over a pint. I do supplement as well. I do lion's mane mushroom, vitamin K2 and D3, vitamin B6 and creatine. The vitamins and the shrooms, they're not really like for gym. They're not. They'll help you with muscle growth and they'll help you with focus, but if you want the most important supplement, I'd say magnesium and creatine are definitely the most important. Magnesium's really good for hormones, and it's going to keep your testosterone up, which is really good for your muscle gains. And creatine, basically what that does is it makes a ton of water rush to your muscles. Tons of water goes to your muscles. Once it does this, this makes it really easy for protein synthesis to happen, and then it makes the cells grow, which encourages just growth of the whole muscle. It's also going to make you perform better as well because it replenishes adenosine triphosphate, which is basically the energy sort of hormone thing that your body uses for high intensity exercise. So like if you're sprinting or if you're lifting really heavy weights, it's going to make explosive movement a lot easier. And the water too, it makes the appearance of the muscles way better. You're gonna be looking sick. There are also other benefits to creatine. It's been shown to help with brain health. It's neuroprotective, and it has loads and loads of benefits. Have been studied for years and years. It's very safe. So because loads of people get the idea that it's some sort of drug or some sort of steroid, but no, it's completely natural, and it's what you find in red meat. It's just that it's being supplemented here, it's extracted. Moving on to the other meals, lunch and dinner, those are really, really subjective. So I'll put a link in the description to some of the recipes I know, and some solid links to some places that I know where I get recipes, some YouTubers that make really good recipes. But yeah, now on to where it really matters, exercise. Okay, finally, exercise. How do we actually perform in the gym? So how often should you even go to the gym? Well, I go to the gym 4 times a week. Obviously, it varies. Like, sometimes I can't go, but you want to go 4 times a week out of a 7-day week to be getting like the most optimal amount of exercise in. You want to be having about an hour and a half to 2 hour sessions each time. The reason I go 4 times out of the 7-day week is I go Monday, then skip a day, then Wednesday, then skip a day, then Friday, then skip a day, and then Sunday. And that means that I get a day in between for recovery, because that's really important. If you're working out the exact same muscle group every day, and if you're working out every single day without any rest, then you're not going to gain anything. It's actually going to be counterintuitive. So you need to be working out just enough so that you're really tiring yourself, but not enough to where you're tiring yourself so much to where you can't grow. You haven't integrated and allowed those muscles to grow. But it's all well and good saying, oh yeah, go 4 times a week, go 1.5 to 2 hours each time, but what do you actually do when you get there? So you want to split your body into different groups, different muscle groups for different workouts. So you're going to have one day where you do push and one day where you do pull for your arms. So push exercises would be things like incline dumbbell, where you're pushing, you're doing a push movement. Then you have pull exercises where obviously you're doing a pull movement. So you'd have something like the lat pull down, or you'd have rows, something like that. After you have push and pull, then you're going to want to incorporate your legs. And then after that, I'd say for the 4th and final day, then I do things like accessories, which is things like calisthenics, things like abdominals, your neck, and, maybe some, cardio. Now, cardio is also very, very important. If you're not doing cardio and you're only doing weight training, then you're doing it wrong. You're doing it absolutely wrong, because if you're not healthy enough, which is what cardio is giving you, you have health and strength. Health is from cardio and strength is from lifting, right? And if you don't have the cardio, you're not going to be able to lift properly in the gym, so you're not going to get as big. Plus, you're just not going to be as healthy too. So you have to remember that if you're bulking, you're in a surplus, you're eating a lot more food than usual, and so you're consuming a lot more fat than usual, and so you need to do more exercise than usual to compensate for that. Obviously, you don't want to be going insanely too hard. You want to go hard, but if you're going too hard, then you want to be supplementing that with food, because it gets to a point where when you do too much exercise, then you're cutting into the extra that you're eating to bulk, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm getting slightly off track. Back to the plan, but yeah, you'd have push on the first day or pull. You don't have to have it in this order, but for the 4 days, I'd say push arms, pull arms, then legs, then accessories, in the ways that I described. And you want to be doing compound exercises. You want to try and focus on that as much as possible. What are compound exercises? So a compound exercise is something that is going to target multiple muscle groups at once. So like squats, bench press, things like that. That's going to be working out your shoulders and your chest and your biceps, instead of just bicep curls, which are just working at your biceps. If you want to get bigger, at first you need to be focusing on compound movements, and slowly you can start to move away from that when you know what you're doing and you know what to focus on. But apart from that, as long as you follow those rules, you can pretty much you pick and choose whichever machine and exercise you want based on personal preference. But the final really, really important technique, if you don't do this, then you won't gain. The final most important technique is progressive overload. Right, so what even is progressive overload and why am I talking about it? So it's basically your body, whenever you do something over and over and over again, your body's going to adjust to be able to adapt to that. And so when you lift, your body is going to start to adapt to you lifting weights. It's going to start reacting, going, oh shit, he's now starting to lift weights regularly. Now, if you're lifting the same weight every time, if you're lifting 7 kilos over and over and over and over again, then you're not going to grow. You're just lifting the same weight. You're going to get so strong, and then the body will, build up the strength to be able to lift that regularly, but it won't go any further. Because the human body only is really smart and really efficient. It only uses as much energy as it needs to. And so if you're not lifting heavier weights and you're not going up a weight every time you go, or you're not doing more reps, then you're not going to gain. Your body's not going to bother to grow the muscle for it because there's no point. So the ways you can implement progressive overload, as I've just said, 2 of them, is by increasing the weight firstly, and the second way, increasing how many reps you're doing, and then increasing how many sets, and working on your form. Because at first your form will be bad. Now, on some things you can't really have bad form, but form does make a big difference. And so when you focus more on it and you go slower and you really focus on what you're doing, it makes it a lot harder and it really implements a progressive overload a lot better. You can do other things as well, like you can make your rest time shorter, but those aren't really good because you obviously don't want to cut into that. You want to mainly just focus on increasing the weight and the reps. Increasing the reps, if you want to, endurance, that's the word. If you want to be lifting for endurance, then, you want to focus on increasing the reps. But if you want to lift to just get your muscles bigger, then focus on increasing the weights. But both will pretty much do the same thing. It's just that when you grow your muscles really quickly through weight increase, then that means your muscles grow really quickly, but that means they can also atrophy slightly quicker. So you don't keep that for as long. So if you stop going to the gym, then it might go away a bit quicker. But, it's there and you grew it. It's not just going to completely disappear, you know what I mean? But calisthenics and increasing the reps are definitely good for long term, and they're a lot better, in my personal opinion. It's just that you use increasing the weights and using these high weights to be able to get it done quicker and use it as an aid. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything I know about how to gain muscle. Obviously, there's other stuff outside of it, but that's, I could go on all day about loads and loads of different things. The mental aspect of it and the lifestyle, what you need to be doing every single day. You could go into a lot of detail, but if you do those things, you can't really go wrong. First video on the channel. I really hope that, it's useful to someone. I really want to make loads more videos like this. Like if I just find there's so many things that I'm interested in and to do with school as well. I do a lot of programming and I'm going back to school in September. So I'll start adding that into my future videos because I want to make some programming videos, just things that I'm just interested in. I want to make a gym video next maybe, but I don't know, put some ideas in the comments. Let me know what you think, but yeah. If you like this video, then leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike, tell me why. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.